Mr. Amjad Bashir from the ECR Group. The floor is yours.
Vice President Timmermans, thank you very much for coming today to this committee. The ECR very much welcomes your commitment to cutting red tape and better regulation. I believe it is vital to exempt micro enterprises and young businesses from legislation wherever possible, which would allow startups to flourish across the continent. Will the Commission be looking at exemptions and lighter regimes for smaller businesses on a case-by-case basis on all new or reviewed legislation? Thank you.
And then the last question from Madam Jędrzejewska, Vice Chair.
Dziękuję bardzo, Pani Przewodnicząca.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I would like to welcome the Commissioner. I'm sorry to have come a bit later, but I had a meeting with my shadows on the Fund on Investment. And my question is related to the European Fund for Strategic Investment. So, how is the European Commission going to fight those companies that subcontract and they use the European funds? You said that small and medium enterprises very often are active, but they often are subcontracted. The big corporation has a rate of profit of 20%, but the subcontractor only gets 12% or even less. Unfortunately, this money does not come to the small and medium enterprises. So how is the Commission going to fight this practice?
Maternity leave. I was wondering when somebody would raise the issue of maternity leave. As you know, the Commission has said this is completely blocked. It's not going anywhere. So prove us wrong. Prove us wrong, and then, of course, we will continue with the initiative. It's been blocked for so long that I think it only has implications for no more than 8 member states at this stage, because 20 member states have moved beyond what the directive could entail. But that could still be an important addition. Commissioner Jourova has done her best and more than that to try and get this moving again, and we felt strong support from some committees in the European Parliament as well. She is really engaged also with the presidency. She had a meeting last week, I believe, with the employment minister, I think, from Latvia to see where we are. So I think the ball is very much in the court of the Council now. And the Commission will wait and see what the Council has to say about this. And I hope they prove those right to say that there's still a possibility for this proposal to go ahead. But once again, if there is no chance whatsoever that we can move along with this, at some stage the Commission will have to draw the conclusion that we withdraw the proposal and come up with other proposals that would improve the position of women in the labour market, because we need to move on that, because Europe is losing huge potential, because we are not good enough at creating better opportunity for women in the labour market. And I think the Commission will have a lot of focus on this issue, not just because it's right and it's morally right, because it makes economic sense to do it. It is necessary. It is necessary. So that's where we are, I believe, on maternity leave. I have sympathy for the idea that you should exempt micro-enterprises from regulation, etc. But I also am sensitive to the possibility of abuse of that by companies who would like to undercut rules by creating fake micro-enterprises or fake companies. So we have to be extremely careful that in doing this, we don't create opportunity for people who have bad intentions to undercut to increase the risk of social dumping on a European scale. So, you know, it would make perfect sense to make sure that you don't put unnecessary burden on micro-enterprises. But past experience in the last couple of years has made me very, very careful indeed not to create a situation where you don't help micro-enterprises, but you help criminals who use the status of micro-enterprise to treat their employers badly or their customers employees badly or their customers very badly. So, you know, let's be very careful. I have great sympathy for the idea. I think it could be very useful, especially for the digital single market and the loads of startups we have in the European Union. I run into too many young men and women who say we're leaving for Singapore, we're leaving for the United States because it's easier for us to work there. But, you know, frankly, let's be careful here. On the issue of subcontracting, I think this is very